Okay, we are live. It is 4:52 p.m., coming up on 4:53 on the East Coast in these United States of America. So we have a short a short pregame show, and we got some issues. We got some issues. As a matter of fact, I got to pull up the Bitcoin price on the other computer over here. Let me refresh this. Actually, I'm going to show it before I refresh. Um, Here was the price, 37,300 a day or so ago. Let's see what it is now. I'm going to refresh. Actually, we'll leave it on there. And let's see what happens when I refresh the price here live on the show. It's 37,300. Let's see what it is now. 41,500. 41,500. And some folks were saying in the live stream yesterday that Bitcoin is correlated to other assets, like the S&P 500 and so on. And they were just saying that yesterday. So it looks like they would have been wrong on that. They would have been wrong on that. Leslie's in the house. She says, nice hat. This hat is a vintage Brooks Brothers hat. And it was about the most vintage thing that I had that I thought would go with this Schott motorcycle jacket. This motorcycle jacket, which we're going to talk about a little bit today, that is a 100th anniversary Schott motorcycle jacket made in 2013. That was their 100th anniversary. And Schott actually was the first company to put a zipper or zippers on a coat. First company to do that. And they became famous when the movie, what was the title of that movie with Marlon Brando? The Wild One, I think, something like that. Anyway, Marlon Brando wore a Schott motorcycle jacket. Now, some experts say it was actually a reproduction of a Schott, but anyway, it looked just like a Schott. And all of a sudden, they became the thing that the bad boys were wearing. And the coats actually were banned from schools. People weren't allowed to wear them to school. So there we go. Even back in the day, government was overreaching. And Bruiser says, wrong hat. Leslie says, nice hat. And Bruiser says, wrong hat. So I'm going to go with what Leslie said. I'm going to go with Leslie because she's got style and class. And you would look badass with slick back greaser hair instead. There you go. I don't have a cap like the one that he was wearing in that movie. He didn't wear a helmet. He had a cap that he wore. I don't have a cap like that. This is kind of the closest thing I have to what he wore. Kyle's in the house. Hey, guys. Bree says hello. And our Wags is in the house. I actually consulted with Kyle. I told him that I'd found this 100th anniversary coat on eBay, and it looked to be in really good condition, and they're extremely rare, very hard to find. And I said, listen, I need another leather coat, like I need a hole in the head, but I'm planning on getting another motorcycle and doing some riding. And I said, so what do you think? Should I get this coat? I sent him the link. It was a decent price. It wasn't a giveaway price, but it was a decent price. And a very rare coat and in like new condition. He said, yeah. He said, go for it, right? So I'm crediting Kyle, and now Kyle will probably say in the chat that, he was just joking with me. But anyway, here's a few photos. Let me show you a few photos. Okay, here we go. Here's a few photos that I took today of me in the Schott coat, the Schott motorcycle jacket, and I really like the fit. I think it fits great. And we're going to talk about the sleeves because Durr was talking about the sleeves. We're going to talk about that But there's the model, PER 13. So made in 2013. That is the limited edition jacket, 100th anniversary. And so there we go. Steer hide. It's a pebbled steer hide. Some people don't like the pebbled. It's softer and more comfortable and doesn't have as long of a break-in period. But some people like the smooth leather that has the longer break-in period. I like this, and I like the zippers and all are not quite as bright silver color, right? They're more toned down a little bit. I kind of really like the look of the jacket. Um, and the buckle's not as big, right? It's just not as over the top, but extremely well made. This thing, I've examined it very closely, and it's extremely well made. So, Schott, I've read some reviews and all. They get some mixed reviews sometimes. Sometimes people, question the quality a little bit, and then other people rave about them. There's a money belt. Money belt. Um, all I can do is speak to this particular coat. The quality seems stellar. The quality of the leather, the weight of it. It's a very heavy jacket to hold in your hand. It's very thick leather, but it's very comfortable, very compliant. It really molds to your body. The zippers, the everything seems to be first rate to me. So your mileage may vary, but again, this was a limited edition coat, so I don't know if they spent more time on them. I know they were more expensive back in the day, but I don't know if they spent more time on them, if the leathers were any better. I tried to get more details from Schott. I wrote to their customer service. I wrote to their person that's in charge of public relations, and nothing. It's crickets. That was like a week ago. I've asked them for information and nothing. And I Googled and I searched, and it's very hard to find information about this particular coat. Very hard to find information. What's the guy name on YouTube? The one with the breaking news guy. Somebody just texted me. He knows I'm doing a live stream. Lookner. Lookner is the guy's name. Jewish guy that does breaking news stuff. He's really good. Okay, so anyway, I did a blog post also. Let me pull that up. And this is where I'm going to put all the information about this jacket. Okay. This is where I'm going to put it. If I gather more information, I'm going to put it here. And then I've got the history. And this is a 100th anniversary Rosie model, is a Japan only variant of this coat that is different. It's not the same. And that I put some information about that coat in here as well. It's got a bi-spring back on it. This one does not. So there's a few differences. I think, I'm not sure if it's the smooth leather or the pebbled. I think it might be the smooth. I can't really tell. And there's Johnny. There's the character from the movie, Marlon Brando. And the Wild One, I guess, is the name of it, the movie. And so he's the one that made it iconic. Made it iconic. Let's see. Is it lambskin? No, it is. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Let me get caught up, because I skipped some things here. R-Wag said hi. Craig, you look like you're ready to go to the Blue Oyster Bar. That is a bondage version. Yes. It even looks better on you. Okay. How thick is the leather? Would it hold up to road rash more than a regular leather jacket? It seems pretty thick to me. Yes. And I think it would give you some pretty good protection. There are, I think, coats for riding that would give you more protection. They build in like Kevlar and different stuff into them, right? I'm old school. A nice thick leather jacket to me is fine. I try to keep the bike vertical. I try not to lay the bike down. That's just kind of how I ride. But yeah. Japan makes the best motorcycle helmets, Ari and Shoei. It's interesting. These Schott coats are very popular in Japan. I'm not sure why, but they sell a lot of these in Japan, and they make a lot of Japan market only coats. So often they're shorter. because Japanese guys want shorter ones. And so they make them specifically for that market. It's kind of like the reverse of Grand Seiko, right? No, it is described as steer hide. It's basically cowhide, right? They call it steer hide, but they even admit they don't know what sex the leather comes from when they get it. So they can call it steer hide, and it might not even come from a steer. But it feels, this leather is pebbled grain, but it feels very soft, very pliant, but it is thick. It definitely is not a thin leather. It will break whatever wind you're riding through, and it'll keep you nice and comfortable. And it breathes nice. And I watched a thing on a guy that this guy keeps texting me. I watched a thing where a guy's talking about leather jackets and how, leather's not practical for a motorcycle jacket and all this stuff. For years and years, I always rode with leather jackets. I had a combination of a leather jacket and a denim jacket always with me. And I'd either have the leather jacket on or the denim jacket. If it was really hot, I'd have the denim jacket on. And if it wasn't quite so hot, I'd have the leather. And leather has a very wide temperature range that you can ride in. It breathes nicely. You don't get overheated in leather. And he was talking about how you sweat in it and all that stuff. I guess a lot of these people these days just sweat like stuck pigs all the time. I don't get it. The watch people that are wearing the leather straps, they sweat like stuck pigs, and the people on motorcycles, they sweat like stuck pigs. So I don't get it. I don't understand. Durr's in the house. Craig, I hope you got some pictures of your new motorcycle jacket on the Segway. We need to start a motorcycle jacket Segway gang. Okay, so, and we're going to talk about the sleeve length. Perfecto indeed. Brief it dance in the house. I have a leather Harley Davidson coat with leather chaps. Goes well with my black Harley. Craig, if you get a motorcycle, what are you planning on getting? Tell you the truth, I will probably get another Honda. What were they called? Something ACE. Honda Shadow ACE. But this time I'll get a fuel injected one. They're basically they're a knockoff. They were made to look like a Harley, but you have the reliability of a Honda. And I'll probably get one of the last 1100cc ones that is fuel injected if I can find one. They're hard to find, but I'll probably get something like that. So I'll have the kind of the look of the Harley, but the reliability of the Honda. So there's that. Because I really enjoyed that bike that I had, but it had a carburetor, and that is a no-go with all the corn they're putting in the fuel these days. Tyler, good afternoon. If you were to have a 2-watch Rolex collection, what makes would they be? Alternative Rolex, what do you say? Okay, 2-watch Rolex Date 8 and a GMT Master. That's what I rotated for many years. It was usually a GMT Master and a Date 8. For a little while, I had a Submariner with the Date 8 rotation, but it was generally a GMT Master. So that would be the 2-watch rotation for Rolex. If you go with something else, I would go with Grand Seiko, and I would go with that watch there, the 002 Stunner, as a dress watch, and then the 231 diver watch that I have on my wrist right now, the diver watch. And I have a link in the description to my Grand Seiko page on my website that describes both of those watches in detail. I would pass on the Zenith and all that stuff. I'd pass on all that. Our WAG's in the house. Craig, off topic, but since you are ground zero for any nuclear attack, do you have a backup plan for protecting your keys to the Bitcoin in case you get turned into glass? Yes, I do have backup plans in place. And we have a pretty deep bunker here, so we might even survive. Tyler's in the house. Also, anyone know of any good watchmakers near New York City? It's a good question. Japan has a devoted vintage Harley Davidson community, I'm sure. That is soy misinformation. The MotoGP racers all wear full leather suits with perforations for breathability. There you go. And I'm guessing they do build some additional armor into them, either something made of Kevlar or something, right, to give additional armor. But yeah, leather's pretty tough stuff. Pretty tough stuff. I'll be right back. Give me 15 minutes before we jump into the sleeve links. Got to pay my bill at the restaurant and head back home. Okay, well, when you get back, ask the question in the chat, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Did you hear about Canada freezing people's BTC wallets? I know they were trying, and if you have your Bitcoin on an exchange, if you have your Bitcoin being custodied by a third party that the government can get to, then yeah, they can get to that. Probably not quite as easily as getting to the banks because they're all set up to do that, but they could get to that third party that's holding your Bitcoin as well. Now, if you have your Bitcoin in a wallet where you are controlling the private keys, then there's nothing they can do to freeze that or mess with that. So it all depends on how you're holding your Bitcoin. Yes, so that's how that works. I did also debut a video on the channel before this live stream of me posing in this coat, yours truly posing in the coat. I've got it zipped all up now. I'm going to unzip it down so you see both ways. So this is what it looks like, right? That's where you traditionally see it like this a lot, you know, where it's partially unzipped. Let's do it up to about right there. I think that's kind of like the traditional. You see them a lot of times like this. And quite frankly, it's comfortable both ways. It really is extremely comfortable. And I have to say, I took a flyer on this as far as the size. Now, the gentleman selling it had all the measurements, which is helpful, right, in the listing. But I've read a lot about them, about sizing, and there's a lot of conflicting information. And this ended up, this is a large, size large. And a lot of people would have said I should have bought a medium. And I definitely think that would have been a mistake. I think this thing fits great. And I definitely would not want it any tighter than what it is. I think it feels great. I think it looks great. So I wear about a size 41 suit coat, sport coat. And I think that the size large is perfect for somebody that wears that size coat. Talked about the sleeves. I have them rolled up right now. We're going to talk about it when sleeve length, when their Stifle gets back. Craig, super cool jacket. Well, thank you, my friend. Craig, do you wear a helmet on riding? I usually wear a half helmet that the ears are completely free, right? Like the police officers used to wear. Let me see if I can find a photo. Give me a second here. Let's see. Well, I got lucky. Give me a second here. See, we like to be able to keyword search our photos. So there I am on my Honda Shadow with a half helmet, and that's the kind of helmet that I wear. I've got a couple of them. I've got one that's flat black. That one was like a burgundy color. I just feel a lot more comfortable in those. They breathe real nice, and I like to have a full windscreen. so that I don't have to wear a full helmet. I don't like to have to wear a full helmet when I ride. I just don't feel free that way. And so there's the Shadow 1100. Um, that was the most recent motorcycle that I had. I had several Harleys before that, but that was the most recent motorcycle that I had, was that 1100cc Honda Shadow. Honda Shadow. Um, let's see here. So we addressed that. That jacket is robust. Yes. Um, when you okay. By the way, we can't end, Craig. Um, when is Steve calling? I got to talk to Steve. You guys got to talk to him too. You guys got to press him because I've begged and pleaded with him to do a show, but I think he would listen to you guys a lot more than he'd listen to me. I'm back. The Shadow is a great bike, especially for first time owners. Yeah, well, they make all different CC levels. They make them, I don't know, I think from like 250 CCs all the way up to like 1100 CCs. I think now though they only make a 750 CC is the biggest they make, which a 750 would probably be okay for me because I'm just going to use it for putting around Sarasota. I'm not going to use it for long trips or anything. But I think I'd rather have the 1100cc if I can find one. Maybe somebody can find out and let me know in the chat. When was the last year that they made a fuel injected 1100cc Shadow? I definitely want one with fuel injection, not carbureted. I've been there, done that. Ain't going to do it again. I wouldn't have sold that motorcycle if it was fuel injected. It was a great bike. Shaft drive. See, I also want shaft drive, right? So some of the smaller ones are chain drive. Let's see here. Got a lot of pansies in the moto community that say you should wear titanium armor head to toe every single time you're on a bike, similar to the Tudor. Yeah. No. I'm not going to go there. I ride very carefully. I watch out for the people that are trying to kill me. I do that anyway, even when I'm not riding. You always have to watch out for people that are trying to kill you. So I'm used to that. Pick up the chicks on that bike. Yes. The chicks dig it. Blue looking that, and I had a custom seat on it. I don't know. No, it wasn't on in that picture. The custom seat wasn't on there yet. I ordered a Corbin custom seat and I put that on, and that made it even more comfortable for the rider and the passenger. Yeah. So, thanks. Okay. And in the house. Okay. I see you riding a Can-Am Spyder, Craig, especially since you can hook up a trailer to it and then haul equipment and plenty of luxury accessories to go. Can-Am Spyder. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. I have a full Bell motorcycle helmet with full pull down visor. Makes me feel more secure. There you go. Just try for fun. Try a half helmet once. Just go out for a little ride with a half helmet, assuming your bike has a full fairing. And just see what you think. You might find it very interesting. There are a number of BMWs that are shaft drive, some air cooled as well. Yeah, my BMW was shaft drive. My R80 GS, my R100 RT, they've been shaft drive for years and years. The full motorcycle also lets you ride incognito. There you go. Where is the ambulance? I haven't bought one yet. Okay, so we're going to talk about the sleeves. All right, I have these folded back right now. I have them unzipped and folded back, and they stay that way. They don't come unfolded, whatever. They just stay that way. So that's an option for if you don't want the sleeves to be real long. The sleeves are designed to be long so that when you're reaching for the helmets, they're covering your entire arm. So that's by design. So if it's too long, you can fold them back like I have them now. Now, if I fold these down and I zip them, okay, I think it's a reasonable length for me. I'm happy with the length. Let me do it on this one. Okay. Now it covers the watch completely. It covers everything, right? But I can still use my hands. I can still type. I can still do whatever I need to do. It's not like the sleeves are so long that they're obstructing me, right? So I feel like this works for me. Now, if you buy one and the sleeves are even longer than this, if they were longer, if they were coming like halfway down my palm, I probably wouldn't be real happy with that, right? So if they're even longer than this, then I'm sure a professional uh, seamstress, somebody that's used to working with leather, could shorten them and move the zipper up and do all that. I'm sure that would be not, I can't imagine that would be a major big deal. But again, a lot of the times, if I'm not riding, I will probably just leave this folded up. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if I'm going to wear this that much when I'm not riding. I'm probably going to use this primarily when I'm riding, right? I mean, that's the purpose of it. I like my Indiana Jones leather coat for just normal use. So if you fold them up like that, they don't get in the way. They don't come unfolded. So that's something there for you to consider. You got two options there. You can fold them up like this, or you can have them shortened, or just wear them the way they are. I wonder if you contacted Schott. I would find a jacket that you really like. They make a lot of different models. I would find one that you really like. I really like this one. It's going to be really hard to find one of these, though. This 100th anniversary coat. It's going to be really hard. That'll be tricky, but they have similar coats. Not the same, but they have similar. And maybe they would make it with shorter sleeves for you if you ask them. Doesn't hurt to ask. Let's see. I have a Yamaha V-Star Classic 650, Honda CTX 700, and a Can-Am Spyder. Why do you need three? The Can-Am Spyder is that three-wheel thing, right? Yeah. Craig is so right. Chain drive, you have to lube and adjust all the time. Yeah, I prefer shaft. I have a 32/33 inch sleeve length, and my chest size, it was 10 inches longer sleeves than that. I also spoke to them about custom work, but they aren't doing any now, and it's super expensive. Yeah, well, take it to somebody who's a good seamstress that can handle leather and just have them shorten it. It doesn't look like it would be that complicated a job at all. I know one guy I know could do it is Beto's Leatherworks in Falls Church. I mean, he could do it for you. I mean, no question. He could do it so you'd never even think that the jacket was ever touched. I mean, he's that good. You know the guy I'm talking about. In Falls Church there, Beto's, Bedos, Beto's Leatherwork. But there has to be somebody local to you that can handle leather and do that alteration. That's a minor freaking alteration. So the key is you want to get the rest of the coat to fit perfect, right? To fit really the way you want it. Length, everything, you want it the way you want it. And then have them just do the sleeves. So you're golden. Then that way you get maximum flexibility as far as the coat itself. You don't have to worry about the sleeve length. You got to get the coat itself to fit right, and then just have them fix the sleeves. So yeah, that's what I would do. Kyle Jett says, where is BTC going to be by year end, Craig? I have no freaking idea. I have no idea. I don't even know why it's pumping right now. Is it pumping now or is it dumping? It pumped earlier? Let's see if it's doing a pump and dump or if it's pumping still. Well, it's 41,800. And it's funny. It's really hilarious. Some of the Bitcoin know-it-alls in the Watches channel were talking about how, oh, I'm really nervous because Bitcoin is correlated to other equities and all that. Right? You know, it's supposed to be an uncorrelated asset and so on and so forth. And I said yesterday, I said, well, you know, it may look like it's correlated, but when Bitcoin moves, it moves big and it moves a lot more than these things that it is, quote, correlated to. So that's the difference. That's the difference. If you look at the chart, the times that Bitcoin takes a big run up, it takes a big run up, right? I mean, 10, 20, 30, 40%. I mean, in a matter of weeks, right? I mean, it will outrun anything. And even if the stock market is doing good during the same period of time, Bitcoin will outperform it significantly. Now, it can also do the same thing to the downside, but the upside over time has been greater than the downside. That's why we're significantly higher now than we were 4 or 5 years ago, right? Um, so that's the difference with Bitcoin is when it pumps, because the liquidity is so limited and the supply is so limited, it can run up significantly in a short period of time. And that's where people get screwed when they're trading. If they miss that big run up, if they happen to be out of the Bitcoin and then they miss that big run up, that's how the traders get screwed. So, maybe there's going to be some good news coming up from Brazil. Maybe there's going to be some good news announced at the Bitcoin conference next month. Not next month, but almost next month. I mean, it's almost March. It's in April, right? So in April is the Bitcoin conference. I'm going. Brianna's going. There's supposedly going to be a big announcement by Bukele there. Maybe there'll be some other announcements. Maybe we'll just go kind of sideways the whole year. Maybe we'll be in this trading range between 32,000 and 50,000 the whole year. I don't think we're going below 32. And the reason I picked 32 is that's about the average of what Michael Saylor has paid so far for his Bitcoin. I think that's about the average. Is 32 something is his average cost of the Bitcoin that he's bought to date. And I don't think him and his billionaire buddies are going to let Bitcoin go lower than that amount. I don't think he's ever going to be sitting at a loss in Bitcoin. I could be wrong, but that's the ceiling. That's the floor that I'm betting on, is that the floor is 32,000. So there are people that claim to be experts, that claim to know better than I, that say it's going down to $20,000, that Bitcoin's going down to $20,000, and they're waiting for it to go down to $20,000 for them to buy in. My guess is they're going to miss out. They're going to be no coiners. They're going to be no coiners. Blue says we can't end. Big Bitcoin news. Look up regular car reviews on YouTube. Towards the end of their latest video, they mentioned Grand Seiko. What did they say? Do tell. Give us some information here. Give us some information here. What do they say? Trying to think what else. Am I forgetting something here? Oh, a couple other things about this jacket that are unique. It's interesting that this is really a unique jacket. It's not just that they named it 100th anniversary jacket. It really is unique in a couple of key ways. It doesn't have the football underneath the arm, the big pieces of extra fabric that they call the football. It doesn't have that. And it doesn't have the bi-swing back. The bi-swing back that gives you a little more movement this way, right? And then it supposedly retracts when you move your arm back, right? It doesn't have that. And so I feel like I can move fine in this, that I don't really need the bi-swing back. And I think that it looks better without the but the bi-swing back, I think it actually looks better. But some people like the bi-swing back and wouldn't like this jacket because it doesn't have it. The other thing is this is the pebbled finish, which is I think they do make a coat with the pebbled finish, but a lot of them do not have this. And of course the zippers are different and the buckle is different. So there's some things that are significantly different. Oh, not to mention the liner, the orangish red liner. That's unique to this coat. The normal coats have a black liner. So it's got some significant differences. Let's see. Oh, okay, here we go. Should I wear the day-date or Panerai when I go to the bar to pick up the chicks tonight? Oh, God, what a stupid question. Sell the Panerai and just wear the day-date. Get rid of the Panerai. With the date and the mustache, you won't lose. Craig, you are forgetting to call Steve in. You guys have to call Steve and ask Steve to come in. I don't have any sway with him. He doesn't listen to me. I've asked him repeatedly to be on the show. He doesn't listen to me. So you guys have to call Steve and say, "Hey, Steve, we want you on the show." Then maybe he'll come on the show. He got the invite. I sent him the invite. It's in his email inbox. He said something like, "Nothing looks more badass than adjusting your valves shirtless while wearing a Grand Seiko." All right. He's probably right about that. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, is doing some major promo work upselling GS. It seems to be one of his favorite brands as of the late, calling it tech quality. Well, there you go. Well, he's at least got one thing right. He's gotten a lot of things wrong over the years, including Bitcoin. He didn't embrace Bitcoin for the longest time. Now he's a little bit pro Bitcoin, but he's also talking about a lot of shit coins. He's a major shit coiner. He's like, "Oh, the metaverse and the NFTs. Oh, NFTs are going to be so big and all this stuff." I mean, what the hell is wrong with this guy? What the hell is wrong with this guy? Those things are scams. But he's probably making money off them, so he doesn't care. O'Leary is just copying yours truly, Craig Shipp. Yeah, but not on the shit coins. He's not. I bet O'Leary watches this channel. So I'm trying to think what else. Oh, Dur, what if the Schott jacket doesn't work out for you for the reasons you've outlined, what leather jacket do you wear? What is your leather jacket of choice? Let us know in the chat. There were some things we talked about. What were the things that we were supposed to talk about from yesterday's show? We talked about Bitcoin, and we had a clear demonstration of how Bitcoin is not correlated to other assets, because today is a perfect example. Bitcoin's going through the roof, went up 9%. Stock market was pretty much flat. So that took care of that little thing. What else? Oh yeah. Rich, God bless him. He hears the stuff that the mainstream media people and that the idiots out there, the idiot pundits say, and then he just parrots it. He just repeats it, right? And then Carlos comes in. We're talking about Bitcoin. And then Carlos comes in and he uses the pizza argument. He says Bitcoin is not scarce because each Bitcoin can be divided into 100 million pieces, 100 million Satoshis. Each Bitcoin can be 100 million Satoshis, right? And so he says, therefore, it's not really scarce. And I'm like, you buy a pizza. You buy the big pizza that you buy at Costco, right? They only have one size, that nice big pizza, right? And it doesn't matter how many pieces you cut that into, how many slices you make, you still have the same amount of pizza. You don't have more pizza because you cut it into a bunch of pieces, a bunch of slices, right? And I don't understand how some people just don't understand that. They don't understand. They think that when you cut a Bitcoin into a whole bunch of pieces, that all of a sudden you've got more Bitcoin in circulation. No, you've got fractions of a Bitcoin. Maybe our wags can let them know. Favorite jackets are my U.S. Navy and my Air Force flight jackets, all goats in. Yes, those are very good. Very good if you get one from a high quality maker. The goat is very good for a leather jacket. Yes. And you can wear those on the motor too, on the motorcycle. You can absolutely wear a flight jacket on the motorcycle. Let's see, Der Stifle. I don't really have a good leather jacket because my measurements are so off as a short, thick guy with short arms. I saw you. You're not that unusually shaped. Yeah. I'll tell you what the solution then is, really. if Wested still makes custom leather coats, Peter Broughtright has passed away, but I think they still do it. You go to Wested, I think it's wested.com, WESTED.com, and they will make you an Indiana Jones jacket like the one I have, made to measure. Made to measure. Okay, it's going to fit you beautifully when they're done. And that is my most comfortable leather jacket. That's my go-to leather jacket. That's the one when I went to Italy, I took with me. When I went to Russia, I took with me. Anytime I travel, that coat goes with me. So you guys have seen it a million times. Let's see. Our wag says, hey, Blue. What other silliness were they talking about on the Watches channel about Bitcoin? Darn. Now I can't remember. Shoot. Let me see if I'm not going to remember from glancing at that. Let me know in the chat. Come on. Who was in there on the Watches channel? What other issues do we need to discuss? Because I can hear it right now. We're going to wrap the show and somebody's going to say, oh, well, you forgot to talk about this, right? Well, now's the time to let me know in the chat what I forgot to talk about so that I still have time to talk about it. Sent you a link to
breaker 44,000 on the Bitcoin chart. We've got parabolic exponential explosions happening right now. 5:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Monday the 28th, 2022. 44K.
So that was a report from Stephen Applegate in the Bitcoiner group, saying that Bitcoin is going parabolic. So we'll see. He gets all excited. He thinks he can time the market. He thinks he can trade, but not really. Not really. Traders get wrecked. Traders generally get wrecked. Let's see, Craig, you need to talk about when you are going to get a day. I've talked about that a million times. I've moved on. I've stepped up to the stunner. The stunner is a major step up from the day date. It's not even a close call. It runs circles around the day date. And that's what Durr says. I forgot to talk about that. No, there was something else that we were talking about in the chat. I thought there were a couple of things. And of course, the guys that wanted a show, that desperately wanted a show, they're not even in here. Okay. Rich isn't in here. I don't think I think Kyle's left. He's not in here anymore. So, what can I say? What news, by the way, what news came out that's driving Bitcoin up? What is going on? I mean, look at that green candle right there. Look at that green candle right there. I mean, my goodness. 43,500. He says, I'm here. When Bitcoin moves, it can move. It can move. That's all I can say. And Kyle, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat if I'm delusional or not. Did I say that yesterday when some people on the Watches channel were saying that it's correlated? What did I say? What did I tell them yesterday? This is before the pump today, right? What did I tell them as recently as yesterday about Bitcoin being correlated? What did I tell them? Let us know in the chat. During the house, I'm not sure GS is the right brand for you guys wearing motorcycle jackets, though. I think with motorcycle jackets, you should wear a great big brand. No, the 231. The 231 is the ultimate motorcycle. My gosh, this couldn't go any better with this jacket. It's like it was custom made for it. Yeah, Kyle's in the house. What about Steve from Israel? He's looking for a new watch. Perhaps he needs some advice. He needs a lot of advice. He absolutely needs a lot of advice, but he ain't here. And I put him on the list, the invite list, right? I put him on the invite list. I predict BTC hits 250,000 if Russia is moved from the global banking system and they make Bitcoin their national currency. So, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And a lot of Bitcoiners are like hoping that that's going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Because let me explain something to you. The sanctions against Russia, there are a ton of exceptions. Everybody has carved out their exceptions. Like Germany can buy oil and gas and so on. Italy can sell them diamonds, right? All these different countries have carved out exceptions so that they can still sell them stuff, right? They can still trade. And we need oil and gas from, we're importing. Our biggest source of imported oil is Russia, okay? We are talking about sanctions against Russia, and we are importing a huge amount of oil from them. And we haven't stopped, you understand. We're still doing it. We're still giving them money for oil. So the sanctions, the quote, sanctions are silly. They're silly talk. Silly talk. And Putin is sitting on a pile of cash and gold, right? He doesn't give a rat's rear end about the so-called sanctions. The sanctions are theater, just like the security, the TSA security that we have at the airports. It's about as effective. It's about the same thing. It's theater. Oh, God help us from these people. God help us. Kyle says, you said look at the entire history rather than just last year or so. Well, I think I also made the point that when Bitcoin moves, it moves big. Okay. And that the correlation breaks when Bitcoin is making a big move. And most of the gains that Bitcoin has had have been in relatively short periods of time where it will do a big move. And the stock market can't keep up, not even close. Right. So that's, I think what I said was that Bitcoin will have big moves, and that is what breaks the correlation from time to time. And then it might be correlated for a while, right? And go along correlated. And then all of a sudden there's another big move. And it could be a big move down also, right? And it'll be a much bigger move than whatever the stock market's going to do. So that's the difference. That's how it's not really correlated, is because the amount of the move that you'll have in Bitcoin from time to time. And that's why it's outperformed the stock market significantly over the last several years. And of course, since it started. But we really shouldn't talk about, and I think it's disingenuous when people show the Bitcoin chart going back all the way to the beginning when it was worth like a penny. I mean, that's kind of not really honest, right? Of course, it's going to look really impressive if you start all the way back when it was a penny. But even if you just go back 5 years and look at the Bitcoin chart, it's really impressive, right? It's really impressive. So, so yeah. Craig, can I email you a photo of watch for you? Yes, good, sure. Send it. Send it. I wish they would just send Nancy, Joe, and Kamala to Ukraine to fight Russian with only a wishbone from a turkey to defend themselves. Biden fikes everything up. The only big move I want to see is Democrats out of the White House. Durr in the House. Durr making things political. See, if Bitcoin becomes the standard, we won't have to worry about who's in the White House. It won't matter because they'll be neutered. They won't be able to do anything. That's what we need to do. We need to neuter these guys. Okay, let me check and see if there's a email. All right, I don't have the email yet. I just have the GS name drop here. Let me see if we can play this. At 9:50. Give me a second here.
Not a forerunner.
But the proportions. Look at the platform. The platform.
Not a.
But I want to assault the wait staff with my car knowledge.
Don't.
But Wikipedia.
X460. Oh, right. Look, if you want a comfortable, quiet Japanese cruiser, and you're never going to go off-road, and you want a V8, just get an LS430 or LS460. If you do get a GX460, please.
Okay, that's all I can play. I couldn't hear it. You guys could hear it. I couldn't hear it. So hopefully I played enough so that you heard what he wanted you to hear. Go back here to the email. And okay, here's the watch. Here's the watch in question. Okay. All right. So I am not a big fan of chronograph watches, but I do like the case design on that watch. I like the big 12 and the 6. I think it's kind of cool. You know, it's a sporty looking watch. I like the strap with the holes in it for breathability. I think it's kind of cool. So, I mean, I'm not going to do a thumbs down on the watch. I'm just not, for me, I don't like the complicated dial. I don't like the chronograph function just because I don't really need it. But if you think you would use it and you need it, then I don't see a problem with that watch. I really don't. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. I hear they want to cancel the White House because it's white and therefore racist. Well, I don't think they want it called I don't think they want it called the White House anymore. I think they've already talked about that the name needs to be changed. Who sent that in? I want a GX. I don't remember. Oh, by the way, did you guys see that car? It's Frederick. That's Toxic Sludge, says Durr. Cool. Sent you one more photo. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a car coming out that it's going to be made in the same factory as the Mercedes G-Wagon. Have you guys heard about it? It looks like I shared the link, I think on the Watches channel. It looks like I think it's called the Grenadier or something. It's got a funky name. It looks like a Land Rover 110. The only thing I don't like is it got a BMW engine in it, but at least it's an inline 6. It's an inline 6. And the claim to fame is the whole thing is built to be robust and to be good off-road. They built it because Land Rover stopped making the 110 Defender, you know, the old school four-wheel drive that they made for many years. They stopped making it. So this company basically made a clone of that. And it's really cool. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe I can find it. Give me a second here. I got to go to my history. Let's give a time check while I'm doing this. Yeah, here it
No
is right
medical
here.
exams on policies under $2 million. For around $1 a day, I got 300,000.
This is the new Innos Grenadier, and it is a lot like an old Land Rover Defender, though it's not a copy of one, not at all, no. Not for legal reasons anyway, more on that in a moment. What it is a hardcore utilitarian off-roader, a brand new one. It's the kind of car that fans of the old Defender probably wish that the new Defender was actually like, but it isn't, is it? It's a luxury lifestyle vehicle now. So there's now a gap in the market, and this Grenadier is here.
So anyway, it seems to be really well made. It seems to be a robust piece, and it's going to be about, from what I've heard, about $80,000, which is not insane in today's day and age for something like that. And I think I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm not going to pre-order one or anything like that, right? Let other people take the arrows. Let other people be the first ones to buy this thing, right? But if it turns out that it's really any good, and it's as good as they say it is, as far as being simple as possible and robust for use in extreme off-road situations, right? Without a whole lot of complicated stuff to go wrong. They went with coil spring suspension instead of air suspension, so they don't have something to fail there, right? They designed it to be robust, right? So let's see if they really did do a good job of that. It's a very heavy steel frame. The whole frame is very heavy steel. The body panels are all aluminum. So, and they say it's extremely rust-proofed as far as the frame and all that. One of the problems Land Rovers had is they often had rust problems in the frames because the frames were steel, but the bodies panels were aluminum. And so they say that that's not going to be an issue with this. So they seem like they addressed any of the issues that the Land Rovers had and just made a new version, a new updated, heavy duty version of the original Land Rover, not Land Cruiser, Land Rovers, the 110 Land Rover, right? Would you not just go with a Land Cruiser, though? Much better, right? See, that's the thing. I don't know, Kyle. It's possible that this rig is going to be better than a newer Land Cruiser, because the newer Land Cruisers, they've really put a lot of stuff on there that can potentially fail. And the more complicated suspension with air suspension and all that stuff, right? You got more possible failure points. If they made a really rugged off-roader with the DNA of, a simpler land cruiser, if you will. If you go back to the day when the Land Cruisers were simpler, where they had solid axles, right? This has solid axles front and rear, right? Doesn't have the independent suspension, all that crap, right? And so this is like a throwback vehicle where they put all the kinds of things into it that you would want for a heavy duty vehicle. It's got locking front and rear differentials, again, solid axles, inline six, not a V6, right? It sounds like they may have done a lot of things right. So I think we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see if this thing's as awesome as it potentially could be. So, and the big question I'm going to want to ask them is, can it be flat-towed? Can it be flat-towed behind a motor coach? Because that would be cool if it could. Okay, let's see if there's another email, and then we're going to wrap this up. Yeah, I mean, it's not that much different than the other one. I think it's cool. I like the case design. I like a lot of things about it. I'm not sure how robust those watches are, but of course I wouldn't buy it personally because I would buy a Grand Seiko. But, some people like to go on the wild side a little bit. So I think it's a good looking watch. I like the case design. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Okay, Durr in the house. Unless you get it for free, I would just stay away from it. The two dealers I know dropped the brand because it's unsellable. Even the perpetual calendar for over 50% off sat in the case for over a year. Okay, got you. So he's saying they're dogs. That's does Steve carry that brand still, or did he drop them? Did Steve drop them? I know he carried that brand for a while. At least I think he did. Let's see. I think Steve was and dropped the brand because it was so poor performing. Oh, so he did carry it but dropped it. Yeah, I mean, if Steve dropped them, he dropped them for a reason. So that tells you something right there. So yeah, I think so. What else? I think we're done, aren't we? Let's see. Bitcoin is leveling out at 43,500 right now. 43,500. So it's done some massive pumping here, and we'll see if there'll be a dump. We'll see if there'll be a dump. There's a lot of manipulation going on. A lot of big people are entering the space. Some billionaires are entering the space. Some people that like to manipulate and like to scare people out of their Bitcoin. They like to cause big dumps because a lot of people with weak hands will dump their Bitcoin if Bitcoin takes a big dive, right? They'll panic sell, and these rich guys will be buying it from them, right? So they like to manipulate. They like to, when they can, cause a crash so that they can buy some cheap Bitcoin. Right now, obviously, what's happening is there's more people coming in and buying it than the people that are trying to dump. And so at some point, there'll be such a supply crunch that it will be very difficult for folks to manipulate the price down. And then we're off to the races, right? But again, it's a nascent asset. It's a relatively small market cap, only just under $1 trillion market cap. So it can still be manipulated. It's still in its early days. It just became a teenager. Think about it this way. It's 13 years old. It just became a teenager. What happens when anything becomes a teenager? It's the wild times. The wild times are ahead when you become a teenager. Ask Durr about his teenage years. He'll tell you they were probably pretty wild. Blue says we can't end. I think my day date is worth about 1 Bitcoin. Wow, your day date is worth 43,000 now? Holy cow. Wow, they have gone up. Craig, is it true that you are buying the old day date back, your old day date? No, that's just a rumor. That's an unfounded rumor. I don't sell watches to then buy them back. If I sell a watch, I sell it for a reason. The only thing that dumps is me after Taco Bell, not when it comes to BTC, though. Yeah, Durr is earning his wings because he bought some Bitcoin up pretty high. I think he bought some Bitcoin down lower too, but he also bought some Bitcoin up pretty high, maybe upwards to $60,000. I don't know what the maximum is he paid for Bitcoin, but apparently he has not panic sold in this big pullback that we had. We had like a 50% pullback, and I don't think he panic sold. I think he hung in there. And I'll tell you what, you go through a couple of big drawdowns like that, and you become a veteran. You become a Bitcoin veteran to where it doesn't bother you anymore. The first big pullback that I went through, it bothered me. Trust me, it did. The second one, not as much. Now I'm on probably my 5th or 6th, 50% plus pull down. And now it's nothing. I don't even pay any attention to it. I might buy some more Bitcoin, but yeah, it doesn't fluster me at all. I heard this on another watch group that you are getting the old, yeah, they spread a lot of BS around the other watch groups. We can't end. I might get some Taco Bell myself right now. During the house, 67K is the highest I was buying Bitcoin. Wow. Okay. So you were right up there. I think it maxed out at 69. So you were right up there close to the top. And, you're going to feel so good when Bitcoin goes higher than that you're going to feel like, oh man, I had such steel balls that I held through all that downturn, and now we're back up again. You're going to be like patting yourself on the back. The only thing that might make you not feel quite so good is when you realize that you should have followed my advice and sold all the steel stunners and put all that money in Bitcoin too. You'll say, damn, Craig was right. Darn it. Darn it. I hate when that happens. I buy high and sell low. Dog man. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do though. A lot of people buy, they buy into the fervor, right? When Bitcoin is pumping, they buy into the hype and the fervor. And then when it starts dumping, they start panicking. And what happens is, let's say they bought at 67,000 and it pulls back to like 60,000. They're like, oh, damn, this is really bad, right? And it pulls down to like 50,000. And they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, you know, if it goes any lower, I'm going to have to sell. I can't lose all this money, right? And then it goes down another 10,000. You know, maybe even more. It goes down to like 35,000 or something, right? And they're like, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything, right? And then they sell, and then it starts going back up again, right? And then it gets pumping and it gets up pretty high, and then they say, oh, it's going again, and okay, I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy back in. And then they buy back in again, right at the top, and then it takes another big dive, and they rinse and repeat. They do the same thing over again. They, oh God, I can't lose everything. I got to sell, right? And this is what they do. It's amazing, and they do it repeatedly. Race to who has the most, like Craig says, just keep accumulating. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a thing. I think it's a thing. It will hit 1 million in a matter of years, and we will all look back at sub 100K price like it was very low. And you know what's funny is every time we have a new record high, and I'm not going to call it an all-time high because it ain't going to be an all-time high because there'll be another record later, right? But every time we hit a new record high, I get people coming out from the woodworks, and they're saying things like, oh damn, I wish I would have bought, you know, back whenever, right? And all this, right? Every single time. I remember when it hit $5,000, and it was a big deal that Bitcoin hit $5,000. I mean, people are going freaking crazy. Oh my God, it's $5,000. Oh, I wish I'd have bought it, you know, back when you told me back when it was 1,000, right? I wish I'd have bought it. And I tell them when it's 5,000, I say, it's not too late. Buy it now. Buy Bitcoin now. Oh no, I don't know. Yeah. And then later on, it hits 10,000, right? And we have the same discussion over and over again. And they keep sitting on the sidelines, watching the race go by, watching it just go higher and higher and higher and higher. And they just keep talking, right? And like, oh, I missed it. I missed the opportunity. Oh God, help us. During the house, Bitcoin hits 1 million. There are going to be McDonald's employees refusing to work, thinking they need to get paid 1 Bitcoin per hour. Can you imagine if you could wrangle that kind of deal, get paid 1 Bitcoin an hour? Wow. That'd be strong. Craig, nice jacket. Wear a white t-shirt underneath, jeans, boots. Don't shave for a couple days. Wear a Tudor heritage with that. There you go. No, we'll do everything but the Tudor. And yeah, and a lot of guys wear t-shirts with these, but no, I would wear something like I'm wearing now because it protects your neck and all. And I don't like the oil on my skin, you know, going right to the leather. No sense doing all that. So I would wear something like I'm wearing now, or I'd wear like even a shirt like, let's see if this is still up, this picture. Yeah. See this safari cotton shirt that I was wearing there? I often wore those when I was riding because the safari cloth is very good about cutting the wind as well. And I can put the leather jacket on right over top of that if it gets chilly. I pull the leather jacket out of the tour pack there, the side pack, and just put the leather jacket on right over top of that. So that's typically how I ride. That's how I ride. Now, if it's really warm, I'll have a polo shirt on. and jeans. Yeah, I never ride in shorts. I always wear jeans. So yeah, I don't ride in shorts and a flip flop. Let's see. What else? Carl in the house. I know. Let's see. Should call in. We need the show to keep going. All right. No, I got to eat. My gosh, it's 6:02. It's 6:03. We've been going longer than an hour. We're going to going an hour and 10 minutes. I got a break. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Links are in the description. I've got a whole blog post about this jacket. I love it. I'm a firm believer in at least this Schott jacket. Again, this is the only one I have experience with, so I'm not giving a blanket endorsement of all Schott motorcycle jackets, but I can tell you this one is absolutely fantastic, and I love it. It's comfortable. So keep up the good work. Like, comment, share, all of that good stuff, and we will be back. I'll be back, as Arnold said, right?